It's really nice to be here, and it was a special honor to me to be asked by Camilla Leary to present on this program. She said, I want you to speak on frontline advocacy. So my first thought was, do we really do that in Durham County? I didn't quite understand, but our library has something of a reputation for our strategic plan implementation. We call it saying yes to the community. And if you see this is our staff over here, at least it's half of them. The picture kind of got cut in half. But if you can see, they're all there with the big Y sign saying yes. And this was on our staff development day I'll tell you the timeline of this, but essentially around 2007, our staff development day, we went outside, took this photograph because we had been working for about 6 months to develop this plan. Our staff had created a wiki which was being used to have all staff putting their ideas, their photographs, all that kind of thing onto the wiki for a lot of discussion and that kind of thing. So we were rather steeped in this idea of saying yes to the community. And at the end of my talk, I'm going to tell you sort of where that sort of trademark name came from, because it had to do with, well, are we finding ourselves saying no versus can we find ways to say yes? So with that, let's move on just a bit to the plan itself. The plan was developed, as Patty said, I've been in Durham for about 3.5 years now, and when I got there, I had, I knew that we wanted to do strategic planning. We hired the Singer Group to help us develop the process, but I knew that we wanted to be a community-based, customer-based kind of library. In all of my work, and most of my work in my career has been at the Frontlines. I've been a reference librarian. I worked as a clerk typist in my first job at the Duke Library, and I worked a lot of years as a branch manager in Charlotte, in Westminster, Maryland, with the Carroll County system, and so that's really the root of where my work is. And frankly, as an assistant director in my previous position, I was working to try to make sure our staff understood this. So I guess that's why Camilla and Patty thought, well, this is a frontline advocacy kind of a guy. So at any rate, the plan, I just want to talk a little bit about how we developed this plan. We knew that in Durham, we had, the county itself had a city-county results-based accountability initiative. So our county already had in place certain things that we knew were the highest priorities for Durham. And out of those 8 priorities, there were 2 that seemed especially appropriate to us. One is that they want to make sure that we do everything to focus our resources and our energies to get every child in Durham County, and there's about 260,000 people who live there, to get every child coming through the school system to be ready for school and succeeding in school. And so in the end, our plan with 4 primary goals had a children's and teen goal that was very tied into that. Another one of the 8 accountabilities that Durham set for itself is to honor and embrace its heritage, its cultural heritage. We are a very diverse community. We're approximately 45% white, 40% African American, about 13 or so percent Hispanic or Spanish speaking, 1 or 2% other languages, because we're in an area that has a lot of economic diversity as well. We qualify for E-rate at the 80% level, which means there's a tremendous number of people who have free and reduced lunches. But we also have, having Duke and UNC and North Carolina Central University, these colleges and universities, we have a very well-educated and affluent part of the community as well. Also, Research Triangle Park is in that area. So we have this tremendous diversity, and Durham likes to pride itself on being a really sort of a real and authentic and genuine and gritty kind of a city. So one of our goals became to embrace and honor our diversity. So at any rate, we have a couple of other goals that I'll talk about in a second. But in terms of the process, I won't go through all of this, but our Friends of the Library had a retreat that fall when I got there. Our library board had some visioning sessions. At our first staff day, the one prior to the one where you saw the photograph of everybody saying yes there, we had a visioning exercise that the Singer Group set up with us. We created a steering committee, and then we went on tours. We started going to visit other libraries. We chartered buses and took on 3 full days, and they were really 12 or 15 hours. We took a bus up to Richmond and saw libraries along the way up. We took another bus over to Charlotte and Greensboro as well. So each time we did the bus trip, we had about 25 or so staff members and 25 or 30 people from the community. So the idea isn't just to get our frontline staff engaged, and we made sure that every staff member got on at least one of these trips, or all of them had the opportunity, and some went on more than one trip. We tried to make sure everybody could get on one of these trips to start to understand what good library services could be, or at least what's different, and get people thinking. So that was a big part, and we called it the best practices trips there that we took all over the place. We had the steering committee meeting as we went on, and then at our staff day we showed you the photograph, but we had a lot of discussion and development of ideas. But then we took 2 days for a future search conference, and that was almost entirely community. We had maybe 10 or 12 staff members, but we had 75 or 80 people from the community, and we had targeted all parts of the community, just really probably about 20 different groups that we brainstormed and figured out who do we need to engage from the community. And then each one of those people gave up 2 days. We met on at one of the facilities at Duke. We had lots of food all through the day, and that was really how all of this came together, and we came up with the plan itself. The outcome is that by the year 2010, here we are, 2010, we wanted to make sure, and this was, say, 3 years ago now, that we would have a vibrant Durham County library supported and enjoyed by the entire community. And the library board adopted that plan. So that's the essence of how we got the plan. I mentioned two of the goals. The primary goal, though, is that we want to make sure that we are a customer-centered and welcoming place for the entire Durham community. And I'm going to kind of pass on through this because this isn't a program about that.